Hi, everybody. Hope everybody is doing good this evening. For those of you new, hi, I'm Jeanette from Embroidery Sewing and Crafts. Welcome to the channel. And today's topic is we're going to be talking about embroidery jobs that I avoid and why. So just so that everyone is on the same page, usually what I do on these embroidery happy hours, because they can get kind of lengthy at times, is the first hour, I always like to just talk about the topic, okay? After the hour, when I'm done talking and sharing the information about the topic of the week, then what I like to do is I like to go into the chat, say hi to everybody, answer any questions that I can, and even share comments with everyone, okay? So it is 8 o'clock in Embroidery Happy Hour, Friday night, and hope everybody had a great week. So, like I said, today we're going to be talking about embroidery jobs that I avoid and why do I avoid them. Okay, so I put some notes down, and let me give you a little background as to why I chose this topic this week. I actually had a customer come to me with a job that they wanted me to do. I felt really bad because they really wanted me to help them out, but the thing is, I could not do it. I had to turn that down because I really didn't think it was a good idea. And I'm going to tell you why. Okay. So I figured this would be a really good topic so that we can talk about some of the stuff, because a lot of times people do kind of share what they actually do as embroidery jobs, but sometimes you don't hear people come out and tell you what they kind of turn down and why they turn it down. Okay. So I kind of want to share that with you. Hold on, let me get some water. All right, so let's start talking about this, okay? So one of the first things that reasons why I sometimes turn an embroidery job is usually because a customer doesn't want to pay what I tell them the cost is going to be. For you guys that have watched me for quite some time, you guys know that I have always told you guys I do not negotiate my prices at all. I don't think that I should, because when I actually do my embroidery pricing, I always make sure that it's fair, not just to the customer, but to myself as well. I'm never out there to, rob the customer or make them broke or anything like that. My focus is always to make sure that it's fair pricing all the way around. So, I always, never take a job without, knowing, that I am getting the price that I want to charge for. Every time someone comes to me and they always say, hey, how much do you charge? I always have said this in the past. I never give prices right up front because there's a lot of things that you have to think about when you are pricing your embroidery items. You have to think about all the processes that you have to do, including hooping, all the color changes, testing the design. How long is it going to embroider underneath that needle on your machine? How big, small, the hooping, the placement, the digitizing. There's just so much that goes involved in it. So a lot of times when people ask for a price, I tell them that I really need more time in order to provide them an estimate. But before I provide them the estimate, I try to get as much information about the embroidery project as I can. Because the last thing I want to do is to provide an estimate to a customer, and then I find out that I kind of undercharged or, undercharged, and then I feel like I myself got robbed. Even though, to be honest, customer didn't do it, I did it to myself. But I had made those errors very early on during my career as an embroiderer. So it's something that I know right now not to do. So, if I have a particular job and I provide an estimate and they try to lowball me, I will not take that job. Now, I have seen people actually accept jobs that way. And I want to caution you on doing that, okay? First of all, you don't want to give customers the impression that you're not serious about your pricing, because what ends up happening is if they try to kind of ask you to, like, lowball your estimate, then what'll happen is later on, the second time they use you or the third time they use you, they may end up using the same tactic. And then also when they recommend you to other folks, they're also going to share that you negotiate prices. So you don't want to be in that bubble, okay? One of the things is that when you are providing this service, you want to feel valued, okay? You don't want to feel devalued. Nobody likes feeling that way. It's not good for your self-esteem, not good for your confidence level as well. You want to be confident in yourself and what you do. And the way you do that is to make sure that you're getting what you are worth. So make sure that you have priced your items well and that you stick to your guns. Don't allow people to tell you how much you should be charging for your business. Remember, this is your thing. This is yours, okay? It's not theirs. So, don't be afraid to say no when you see that there's an issue with the pricing, okay? All right. The other thing that I do not do, and I don't take these jobs in embroidery as well, is when people bring to me other items that are already embroidered, and for some reason they just don't like the way the embroidery came out, or they just want to change the embroidery. They'll come to me and say, hey, can you embroider on top of this item? There's several reasons why I won't take that job. First of all, if you guys have ever done any type of embroidering and tried to unstitch all that embroidery, you're going to know right then and there that is time consuming. Okay, extremely time consuming. Embroidery designs consists of thousands and thousands and thousands of stitches. It takes a long time for you to undo all that. And there's also something else that you also have to think about when you are undoing the embroidery. You sometimes have to think about the fabric, and you have to be extremely careful because you don't want to damage the fabric that the embroidery is on. Sometimes what happens, if it's an embroidery has been on a piece of fabric for a long time, the fabric is already kind of how can I say this? It's kind of like, it's not new. It's not like brand new, right? So it's already been kind of like deteriorated, or I don't really want to say deteriorated, but it's not in the same type of condition as the rest of the shirt, the fabric on the shirt or the blanket or whatever it is. When you take out that fabric, that embroidery, you're going to be able to see where that embroidery used to be. And when you go to embroider on the same spot, sometimes it's not going to look good. It's not going to look fresh, And sometimes customers have an expectation that they think that when you remove old embroidery and you put embroidery on top of it, that it's going to look like brand spanking new. And sometimes that may not be the case. So I do not like to put myself in a situation where the customer has some type of expectation thinking that it's going to look great. And then I go and I spend all these hours of removing stitches to only stitch over it and then find out that it really doesn't look good. Okay. Because the fabric where the embroidery used to be isn't in the same condition as the rest of the fabric on the item. So I don't want to be put in that position. The other thing too is it's the time. It takes a lot of time to undo embroidery. I will take the time to undo embroidery if it's a mistake that I made myself. Then I'll go ahead and say, okay, I got to suck it up and just do what I got to do and remove all these stitches, right? But for someone to bring to me a shirt that's been embroidered by someone else and have me undo it, it's a lot of time. And the way that I price by time. And, when you talk to people and you let them know, hey, this is a lot of stitches. It's going to be kind of time consuming for me to take out all these stitches. And this is how much I'm going to charge just to remove the item. Trust me, the customer is not going to want to pay. Okay, they really aren't. And I don't want to waste my time. I prefer to embroider instead of doing unembroidering. Okay, so, I will not take those jobs. So if someone comes to me and says, hey, I got something that was embroidered and I don't like the way it came out, can you undo it and then you do it? Or, they stitched it wrong and stuff. No, I always look at the item and then I say, well, I what I can do is if you buy another blanket or you buy another shirt, and you give me the file, I'll have it digitized, and then I'll go ahead and I'll do a brand new shirt with the embroidery on there. It would be cheaper, it would be quicker, and I would just tell them just take the old shirt and just wear it around the house or do something. But I will not do that. I will not spend my time on unstitching someone else's embroidery work. Too time consuming, not worth it. I strongly don't recommend it. It's just not my cup of tea. All right. The other thing is the third thing that I want to mention to you guys. I will not at all, okay, embroider on designer items. Believe it or not, I have had customers come to me with Louis Vuitton bags, very expensive, um, you know, handbags that are like in the thousands. And what they want is for me to go ahead and embroider their initials on the handbag. Won't do it. Won't I will not touch it. I myself own a couple of designer bags, so I know how expensive these bags are. There is no way that I would do that. At the same time, I also let the customer know that when you do that, and I mean, to each his own, it's your designer bag, do what you want. But I always tell people, I said, what I don't like about, you know, embroidering the designer bags. First of all, if something goes wrong, okay, and I have to replace a $2,000 or $3,000 bag, no, that's not going to happen. Okay, so I don't even want to touch it. If I cannot afford to replace an item that I'm going to embroider, then I will not replace it. Now, have I done embroidery on some expensive items? I have. I have done very expensive polo shirts. I've also done very expensive robes, jackets, and stuff. But these are items that if something goes wrong, I can afford to replace them. And at the same time, too, I mean, I even have a video out there where I had embroidered these very expensive backpacks, and I just didn't hoop. There were 12 of them. I didn't hoop them the correct way. That was a $2,000 mistake that I made, right? But I was able to turn that negative into a positive. But my thing is, if you cannot afford to replace the item that you're taking from that customer, don't do it. Don't take it. First of all, you're going to be a nervous wreck when you are embroidering that item, because what's going to go through your head is, oh my God, this thing costs $800. Oh my God, this is an $800 bag. What if I mess up? What if my machine jams? What if I run out of bobbin in the middle of it, or this or that, whatever? You don't want to deal with that stress. Okay, so you want to enjoy your journey. You want to enjoy what you do. So embroider on items that you feel very, very comfortable with. You can explore embroidering on other items. And then when you feel comfortable embroidering on those other items that you've been practicing on, then you can offer that service to your customers. But, I will not do it on designer handbags. And I've had people come to me and ask me, and I just don't do it. Okay, the other thing too is you have to be careful with the type of fabrics that you are embroidering on. Okay, I will not embroider on waterproof fabrics, and I'm going to tell you why. When you are embroidering on some of those waterproof fabrics, the needles are creating holes on that fabric. Okay, so waterproof becomes unwaterproof. All right, so I just won't do it because I feel like you're kind of damaging the fabric. If the customer does kind of push, but I always let them know, this is waterproof. Okay, this is This is a permanent hole. It's not going to go through. If it needs to be waterproof, the area that is embroidered on has thousands of holes in it. Water is going to sink through it. Okay, so make sure that you know that that's an area that's no longer waterproof. Okay, so you have to be conscientious of the fabrics that you're embroidering. Okay, the other fabrics that I'm kind of like weary on embroidering on is silk. Very shiny, slippery polyester. I will embroider on them sometimes, but it mostly depends on what you want me to embroider on it. Okay. If you want me to embroider like an initial, something that is not very dense. Okay. And when I say initial, I'm also talking about the type of lettering. Okay. Because you can have fonts that are very thick, very dense, and then you can have some that are light. Okay. And if I have a light style font and you want to be embroider it on silk or satin or something like that, I can do that. However, though, if it's a very dense design, okay, and I could just tell it's just I could end up with puckering and stuff like that. I usually will come out and tell them no. I can't do that for the simple fact that first of all, that can be very expensive material to replace. Okay, like silk. Silk is not cheap. And I don't, and not only that, I'll let them know right up front what you want me to embroider on that item. Chances are it's gonna pucker. And it may come out looking nice when you finish embroidering, because sometimes you can you know uh kind of like not moisturize the fabric, but you can kind of set the fabric so that you can embroider it, like you can starch it and stuff like that, and it'll stiffen the fabric, so that way when you put it underneath the embroidery machine, it can kind of take the design. The problem is that one of the things that I always tell embroiderers is we can usually sometimes embroider anything, and then it would look beautiful when it comes off the machine. But I always like to think long term, okay, not just at that moment. Okay, I don't just want to embroider something, grab the money, and let the customer walk out the door. I'm always thinking about how is this embroidery going to live on, okay, after it leaves my shop, when the customer takes that item and washes it, when the customer takes that item and puts it in the dryer. What is the longevity, okay, of that embroidery on that particular item? I know that if I take a piece of fabric such as silk, polyester, stuff like that, I can probably stiffen it up using starch and all that stuff, and then I can embroider on it. When I take it out of the machine, it looks beautiful. But then when the starch is only going to last so long, right? And it'll eventually wear out. It's no longer going to be starch when they throw it in the washing machine. Then when they go, and they wash it or whatever, then they're going to look at the embroidery. It's not going to look good, because then all of a sudden the embroidery is going to be very dense. Remember, the fabrics will tighten, and then before you know it, they're going to look at their item. It's going to have a lot of puckering on it, and they're not going to be happy with it. So my thing is, embroidery can be very, very expensive. I mean, remember, embroidery usually costs a lot more than when somebody goes and gets a shirt that's been done on direct to fabric or with sublimation, because that's just ink. And the ink, you're just putting it on the fabric, okay? As for thread, it's different. You're actually sewing on the item, so it's going to last a lot longer. And the embroidery is going to last. Usually the embroidery lasts the life of the shirt or the item. Okay. So you don't want to embroider on fabrics that in the long term, they're really not going to last long. They're not going to look good. Okay. Customers usually, what I'll do is I do have the conversation with them. I don't want you guys to think, oh, well, Jeanette just has customers come over and she just goes, no. And that's it. I don't do that. Okay. I'll talk to them and I'll explain to them why it's not a job that I'm willing to take. And I'm going to be honest with you, customers do appreciate that because all they know is they want embroidery on a particular item. Remember, they're not embroiderers. We are. We're the ones that know about the fabrics, the stabilizers, the threads, the weights, the needles, the machines, and what looks good and what doesn't look good. All the customer knows is they have like a vision, right? They say, "Oh, I really like this silk shirt and I would love to have my initials on it," right? And I would love it to be thick initials and big initials or whatever, right? But the thing is, you know the true possibilities of what can happen. And then also, when I say no, sometimes I'll say no to what they want, but I'll say, "Look, I really know that you want to have that embroidered. Are you open to some alternatives? Okay. Are you open to some other ideas? Like, I understand that you really love that font, but because that font is so thick and so dense and you want it to be on this material, would you consider other options?" Okay, let's look at my library and I can show you what type of fonts will work better on that shirt. And maybe you may like one of them and then we can go from there. You sometimes that's the way to do it, because you don't want to like just come out and say, "No, I'm shooting your dream. Da, 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 go away." You want the customers to feel like, you know, you're understanding what they want and you can try to meet them halfway if possible. If you can't meet them halfway, right? Like if you come to me with a Louis Vuitton bag and then you're telling me that you want your initials on there, I'm going to turn you down, but at the same time, I'm going to let them know I don't feel comfortable embroidering on such an item of that that expensive, okay? Because I don't want to replace that bag, okay? And I tell them, I go, I have those type of bags. I know the expense of that. It took me months to save, and sometimes years to save for that dream bag of mine, okay? I don't want to ruin your bag. There's a lot of things that can happen that, I know what I'm doing, but the thing is, things do happen. Mistakes happen, okay? And I don't want to take that chance. And a lot of times the customers they'll agree. I'll tell them, "Hey, I could make you a little tag. Do you want me to make you a little tag and you can hang it on your bag?" Sometimes you can provide little alternatives like that, and some people appreciate that. So it's just something to think about, okay? So, if there are certain fabrics that you don't feel comfortable embroidering on, don't do it, okay? Now, if it is something that you want to offer in the future, then what I recommend you do is go and buy like a yard or two of that fabric, okay? Practice on it. And that's another thing you could do too. If a customer comes to you with like a silk scarf and you're like, "Gee, I don't know if that's going to look good on a silk scarf," okay? If you could get your hands on like a yard or half a yard of silk and you don't mind, okay, just taking that and then embroidering on it to see how it looks, will you get puckering or, and try it out, do that. Okay, do that, because that way if it comes out great, then maybe you'll be like, "Oh, okay, then maybe I can embroider on your scarf." But if it comes out all funky looking and you got all this puckering going on and the design just like crushed up and it's just ain't looking good, no sweat. You can safely tell the customer, "Look, I tried on some extra silk that I had in stock. I went and I embroidered it. Just want to share with you what it looks like. I don't think this is really good work. I really don't recommend it on the scarf." And they can understand. But that's only if you want to. I don't do that. But if it's something that you really want to do and maybe you want to specialize on embroidering on silk or something like that, then do that. Go get like a yard of it and stuff like that, and then practice on that yard, different designs and stuff. And then you can kind of see what looks good, what doesn't look good, and all that kind of stuff. Now, the other one, because I'm on number 6 now, is let's talk a little bit about design complexity. Okay. Sometimes what happens is people want embroidery and they want it to look like a picture, or they want, they have some kind of design that they've done with ink and they want to transform it into embroidery. Now, I have seen some people go and do portraits and all that kind of stuff, take designs and, portrait designs and make it into embroidery designs. I'm going to tell you something right now. Not every picture out there under the sun will look good with embroidery. You got to remember that there is a difference between the ink and the thread. In ink, you could take a pen, okay, and then you can just draw, okay, and it's smooth. It's a consistent line, consistent coloring, right? Stitches is not like that. Now, there is stitching in different sizes, okay? You can have 2 millimeter, 1 millimeter, 3 millimeter, 4 millimeter, different sizes, right? But the thing is, it's stitches. It is stitches. It is not ink. So sometimes what happens is people will want a certain design done in embroidery, and then you will go and you'll take it to a digitizer, and then you have it stitched out, and then they say, oh, it doesn't look like the exact same thing. It's not going to look like the exact same thing because you have stitches here and ink here. So in those situations, sometimes, depending on the design and how complex and detailed it is, sometimes embroidery isn't the best choice. Sometimes what you have to do is tell the customer, it's a beautiful design. I would love to be able to do it in embroidery, but I don't think it's really going to look at an embroidery. And you let them know embroidery is about stitches, okay? And if you want, if they don't mind paying you, you can take the design to a digitizer. And sometimes you don't even have to pay. Sometimes you can go to a digitizer and you can ask them up front, will this look good in stitches? Okay. And a lot of times, digitizers will try their best to try to convert that image into an embroidery file. However, though, the thing is, it's the finished product. Okay. Sometimes the finished product of the embroidery doesn't look as close as the ink. And there are other alternatives to this. Okay. They have sublimation patches. Okay. So what you can do is, if you have a sublimation, what you can do is you can get, the patches, and you can put the image on the patch, and then you can embroider the edge. Okay. So that way they have patches with their design. But if they're looking for, a certain logo and they don't want it to be a sublimation patch, but the logo is so detailed, you can give it a shot, but sometimes it won't come out right. So a lot of times in those situations, sometimes you won't know until you actually do a test. But as you start to grow your skill set, and you start to embroider more and more, and you start dealing with different types of embroidery, and this is really falls in the line of custom embroidery, you really kind of understand up front what can be embroidered, what designs can be embroidered and what designs can't. A perfect example of that is the champion dog. The champion dog, I knew that could be embroidered. Now, the only thing is we did have difficulty, but the difficulty has to do with the other reason why I won't take it. But I was able to make it work. I just had to find the right digitizer to help develop the correct file. Okay. But there have been times when the artist has come to me and has provided me, images, and say, what do you think about this going to embroidery? And it's like, no, because it looks beautiful in your watercolors, and it looks beautiful in you drawing it out, but it's not that image is not going to transfer well in an embroidery design. Okay, so that's something that you will actually learn, and that's something that digitizers usually do help you with. Okay, And sometimes you can't really tell off the bat until you try to get that design digitized and you test it out. Okay, then it's kind of like, then you'll know what it's kind of going to look like and stuff like that. Okay, so you got to be careful with some of these designs that are very, very complex. All right. Now, the other thing that I will not touch, I'll do it for myself, but I will not do it for customers, is very large embroidery designs. Won't do it, not interested in it, and I'm going to tell you why. The bigger the design, the embroidery file that means there is more stitches involved. And it also means that that thing is going to be under your needle for a very, very, very long time. What it can also, and because I know this, what's going to happen is, this is what goes to my mind. Oh, that embroidery design is going to take 4 hours. So that means that for 4 hours, that machine cannot work on any other orders. It's just that one design. The other thing that goes through my mind is the amount of stitches. Okay, that's a lot. That means I'm using more thread. That sometimes designs that are very, very large can be dense. Okay. It's just, I just don't like it. Let me just put it out there. Okay. I don't like it. And I don't like it really because of the time. All right. Knowing this up front, knowing that because a design can end up taking so long, okay, it takes like half of my day already. I don't want to do it, because when I charge people, I'm not one of those where I'm like, oh, it's $1 per 1,000 stitches. No, I don't charge like that. I charge by my time, okay, plus materials. So, that's going to be expensive. Okay, we're going to be talking about a good $300-400 or something like that, right? A lot of customers may not be willing to pay that. Okay, they're going to be like, "Ooh, that's expensive." And I'm like, "Yeah, because you're taking 4 hours of my life. Damn right, it's going to be expensive." Okay, I'm standing there in front of that machine. And this is the thing too. Sometimes customers, they think, well, I know you say it takes 4 hours, but you just put in the machine and walk away. No, you don't. You can't walk away, because sometimes what happens is your machine can kind of act up, and you do have to watch it. Okay, I don't care what machine you have, whether you have a multi-needle or a flatbed, you have to pay attention to what your machine is doing. Okay, so it's, and it can be a very dense design, very complex. You got to have the right hoop for it, which I do. I just don't like doing it. Okay, I don't like long draw out stitch work. Okay, I have stitch work that will last an hour, and I'm fine with that. Okay, I can, some of my kitchen towels take about 45 minutes to 50 minutes. Okay, and I'll stick them in the machines and I'll just let them roll. But sometimes people bring these big jean jackets, and if it's just something simple like a name or something like that, that's fine. But if you come to me with a design that is very, very, very detailed, and I have to get it digitized, and that thing is huge, and it's going to take me about 3-4 hours to stitch, no, I'm not interested in it. I just don't. I don't want to do it. I really don't. It's not, no, I don't like doing it. Okay. The other thing also that I will not do is the super duper whooper, and I'm talking about extremely small fonts. Okay. I had a customer that came to me once, had a logo with very small fonts. I knew it was not going to look right on the shirt. I knew it was going to sink. It was too small. It had to be done on patches. Okay. So when it comes to embroidering small fonts, a lot of people get this wrong. Okay. And I have done so many conversations about it and so many videos about it, about when to use the 40 weight thread, when to use the 60 weight thread, when to use the 7511 needle, and when to use the 65/9 needle. Some of you guys have even emailed me and have shown me pictures of when you have switched from the 40 to the 65/9 needle and the 40 to the 60 weight thread to do small fonts, and are like wowed by the difference. You go there, you guys email me and say, oh my God, it looks so clearer, it looks crisp, it looks clean. Why didn't I do this before? You really got to know how to do small fonts. You really seriously have to know. So, a lot of times what happens is people don't take the time to use the appropriate materials to do small fonts. I know how small I can go. Sometimes people come to me with things that are so tiny, they look like dots. And I'm like, no, that's not going to work. I'm not going to do it. And now I will test it. Okay. That is one thing I do is I will come out and I'll test it. Because sometimes I could be wrong. I could be like, oh, maybe it will come out clear and stuff. But if I see that it's so super small and I see that it's not going to look good when it comes off the machine, even though I use a thinner thread and a thinner needle, I'm like, no, I won't do it. But I always test it. Now, the reason why I do the testing is because if I'm going to take this job, I got to make sure that the embroidery is going to look fantastic. I always want to make sure that when I am, embroidering these items, that every number, every letter looks clear. And, it looks really great because, and you guys have heard me say this all the time, when you are working on your orders and you're embroidering, that thing, when it leaves your shop, it represents you. It represents you, and it doesn't just do it when the customer goes and receives it. It's talking about you when that customer is wearing it. All right, because you want it to look golden, because when people look at it, if they ever ask about it, you want the customer to be able to brag about it. Okay, you don't want to come out and have something that comes out and it's supposed to be numbers and it doesn't even look like the numbers. It doesn't even look like you can read it, and people are they're going to be like, oh, that's bad embroidery, or they're not going to bother. People are always wowed by how good embroidery, and they will always ask. So you want to make sure that whatever leaves your shop represents you, and represents you very, very, very well. One of the things too that I looked at, because I was looking up articles also, because when I turned down the job of this week, somebody came to me and they had a blanket and they wanted me to undo the embroidery, and I was like, no, I'm not doing that. And then they wanted me to, also embroider on somebody else's work. They were like, oh, I had this embroidered and I want you to add a name. And I looked at it and I was kind of like, I'm not doing that. And the reason is because I saw that the embroidery wasn't really good. It was like an applique kind of thing. And I was kind of like, no, I was kind of like, don't want to do it. Because the thing is, I don't want to, if I don't know, it's like the embroidery was okay, but it wasn't to my standards, and I just didn't want to put my stamp on it. You know what I'm saying? So because people are not going to come out and say, well, I got this part embroidered from this person, this part embroidered from that person, right? So I was just like, it's not a job. I'm not interested in it. I don't want to do undo embroidery. I already know. I mean, I do have the Peggy Stitch eraser, and I know that I can take the Peggy Stitch eraser and I can, remove those unwanted stitches, but it's a risk, right? Because it's very time consuming. And then what happens if I accidentally cut the fabric? And I saw that it was an old item too. It was pretty old. And I was like, I don't know if I can replace that shirt if I cut it. So I just didn't even want to chance it. So, really the bottom line is, I mean, I guess what I'm trying to tell you this week is, it's okay to turn down embroidery jobs. I mean, you don't have to say yes to everything. Everyone's skill is very different. Everyone's comfort level is very different as well. They may be items that I would not touch, but someone else out there probably has done it gazillion times and they know how to do it and love doing it. Okay. The other thing, though, that I do want to tell you, because this is something that Liliana taught me, was she said, learn to get outside of your comfort zone, but do it in a way that's not going to hurt you in the long term. For instance, if you see that there is a need out there to embroider certain types of items or fabrics and stuff, but you don't have the experience on how to do it, practice. And I'll give you an example of that. There was a time when someone came to me with a puffy jacket. It was a puff jacket. And those puff jackets can be pretty difficult to embroider on because it has feathers inside of it. Okay. And it can be pretty slippery. All right. And I was kind of like, ooh, how would you hoop that and all that kind of stuff? Well, I myself had a coat very similar to that I used to wear a long time ago. Still had it in my closet. And I was like, I don't wear it anymore. So when the customer asked if I would be able to embroider a puffy jacket, I told them, I said, I didn't respond right away. I just told them, I said, let me look into this and I'll get back to you in 2 days. So what I did was I pulled out my old puffy jacket, which I wasn't even no longer wearing, and it was very similar to the product that they wanted me to embroider. So what I did was I just took it, I hooped it, and then I played around with it, right? Because it was the same material, and I kind of wanted to learn how I could hoop it, put the water soluble stabilizer on top, and make sure that I can embroider with small fonts and that it would look crisp and clean. Once I had that figured out, I was able to contact the customer and say, okay, I'm ready, I got it. But at the same time, I asked the customer, hey, I've embroidered on my own puckered, bubble, whatever. I don't know if they call it a bubble jacket or a puckery jacket. I don't know, but it's the one that has the feathers in it. And I told her I embroidered on mine and it came out great. But can you tell me where you got this jacket from? And she sent me the link. And the jacket was like $180, right? So I was thinking to myself, all right, what's the worst thing that can happen? Right? The worst thing that can happen is I screw up the jacket. I got to replace a $180 jacket. But I was like, I'll wear the jacket. So what, and if I screw it up, what I'll do is I'll create my own little patch and I can put it on top of the embroidery, sew it on, and I'll wear it, So that's what, I kind of did. So what I did was then I told the customer, okay, well, this is how much it'll be. And she brought it over and then I just hooped it the way I did on my jacket and it came out perfect. And I was like, okay, so now I can do puffy jackets and stuff. But the thing is, your skill set is not going to grow if you're not brave enough to try different things, right? But what I guess what I'm trying to say is there are certain, you know what you can do and what you can't do. Okay. You know what your skill set at. Now, the thing is too, is be honest with yourself. Okay. Be very honest. All right. About where your skills is and what you're comfortable doing. If you see that there is a demand for jean jackets and you never embroidered on jean jackets before, right? And you're not comfortable with it, go to Joann's, buy a yard of denim, okay, and embroider on it, practice on it. Go to another great way to practice. Go to a thrift store. Go to a thrift store. They have lots of different clothes in the thrift store that you can get really relatively cheap. You go there, go through the racks. You're going to find shirts with different types of fabric, okay? And then what you can do is you can take those shirts and practice embroidering on those shirts. I bet you're going to find rayon shirts. You're going to find polyester shirts. You're going to find all cotton. You're going to find cotton polyester blend. You may end up finding some stuff with leather on it. You're going to find jean jackets. You're going to find all kinds of things. Okay. And then what you can do is just take them, bring them home, and practice embroidering on them. Very inexpensive. It's a very inexpensive way. Okay. Just take $20. Take $20 with you, $30, right? And that's your research and development money for your business. Okay. So you go over there, look through the racks, look at the different types of, it's not like you're going to wear them. You just want to embroider on them. You want to get a feel of how it is to embroider on that particular type of fabric, if you feel comfortable in that. Okay. And then right there, you can play around. Well, what happens if I put water soluble on top of it? Or what if I don't use water soluble topping? What if I put double the stabilizer? What happens if I only use one sheet? What if I use tearaway? What if I use cutaway? What if I put no-show mesh? What if I use these colors on this type of a color fabric? Does it look like it's clear? Or should I be using a light color thread? You know what I'm saying? So it's like that is the perfect way to practice embroidery. It really is inexpensive. And then think about it. You get one shirt that probably cost you maybe $2-3, and you got a whole shirt. And then guess what? You can practice all over that shirt. Just hoop it in all these different sections. You could probably get a good 10 hooping out of a shirt that's size large. And then you can practice on that. Okay. And then when you're done with it, you can just toss it out. Just toss out the shirt. You used it. So it's like, oh, you did all the practicing on there. So, my thing is, you know what you can do. You know what you can't do. Don't be afraid to say no to jobs. Okay. Because you got to remember, you always want to have your best foot forward. Okay. That's the foot you want to stick out. That's the foot you want everybody to see. Nothing but the best. All right. What the trial and the error, you want to keep that inside. So that's what you do with the practices. Okay. You're going to grow. You're going to get better. And then as people come to you and they say, hey, can you embroider a leather jacket? Hey, can you embroider a puffer jacket? Hey, I have this silk scarf. Hey, I got this hat. I got this beanie. All this crazy stuff that people come and ask you to embroider, right? A pillow or whatever. You can go and get the item from a thrift shop, and that's when you can practice. Even though in the beginning you said no, you can always reach out to that customer later and say, hey, I know that at one time you reached out to me and asked me to embroider a skill scarf. Well, I just want you to know I'm offering that service now. Okay. And now you are more confident because you practice. You know exactly how to handle that type of material. So when they bring that to you, you're going to be like, oh, this is nothing. I know exactly what I need to do. This is nothing. I got to get the fan on because I'm starting to sweat and stuff. Oh, I don't have, hold on 1 minute. I don't think I have all the lights on. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Oh, do I? Oh, there you go. Look at that. Now I got more light. I had the light off all this time. Oh my goodness. I hope you guys could see me okay and stuff. Oh my goodness. Oh, but let me turn the fan on while I'm here and stuff like that because, oh my goodness. Hot flashes, I tell you. Okay, so, all right. Okay, so that's what I had to share with you guys about stuff that I avoid and why I avoid it. I'm going to go through the chat because I see that there has been a couple of questions on there. And I want to see if I can answer some of you guys. And at the same time, I want to say hi to you guys and everything. But I hope you like this topic this week. It's just that I got someone that came and asked me to do that blanket, and they wanted me to take off the embroidery and stuff like that, and I was like, no, I don't do that. And then I said, you know what, I never really talked to you guys about jobs that I don't take and why I don't take them and stuff like that. And I wanted to share that with you guys because, you always see people do stuff, but you don't hear people talk about what they don't do or they don't want to do and stuff like that. Like me, I don't like the large designs, right? So if there's like a motorcycle club that comes up to me with a bunch of vests and they say, "Hey, can you embroider these big?" No, I don't want to do that. I could just see it. I would be miserable. It's not that. I would be like, ugh, no, I don't want to do. It's just not my thing. Okay, so I'm like, I prefer to do left chest logos. I prefer to do personalization. I prefer to do kitchen towels, dinner napkins, stuff like that. I am open to other stuff, but there's just certain things that I don't like doing, like the real big embroidery. It's just not my thing. Now, I have done big designs for stuff for me, like I've taken a jean jacket and I've hooped it and I've embroidered my own jean jacket, or I've embroidered my own hoodie. Those things I have done, but it's really for me, or if a family member, if my son comes to me and goes, "Hey Ma, can you do this?" I'll do it, but it's for family and stuff like that. But to do it for business, I don't like to do it because I'm gonna be honest, I just don't like having something under my needle for more than an hour. Okay, because then I feel like it's gonna really, it takes a lot of time. It can get kind of pricey, and sometimes people don't want to pay. They really don't want to pay, and I don't want to deal with that. It's like, because I've even had people come to me and go, "Can you embroider it and put rhinestones and stuff like that?" I'm like, I don't want to do all that. I just don't. It's not my thing. I really don't and stuff. So anyway, I'm gonna go down and say hi to everybody and stuff, and answer any questions that any of you guys had. Hope you guys did like today, this week's topic and stuff. So I see Tina. How are you? Hey, Black Doll Shelby. How you doing? Bernardino. I think I'm saying your name right. How you doing? He asked about Mello. Mello's doing good. I don't know where Mello. I think he's with Daddy. That's what I think. I think he's with Daddy. He's hiding. He'll show up. Mello, they're asking about you. Mello, where's my baby? Yeah, he's with Daddy. Okay, so anyway, hey Nancy, how you doing? Hey Iris, how are you? Jenny, how are you? Elma Pearl, how you doing? Hey Miss Brown, I see Davis. Hey Becky, how are you? Hey Beth Lux, how you doing? Angela and Stitches, how are you? I see Miss Rita Mitchell, how you doing? Diane, and let me see, especially in this economy, got to make sure you are making at least a little something. Absolutely. And this is the thing too. It doesn't feel good. The customer may feel great because they got a great deal, but it doesn't feel good when you do embroidery and that you were not undervalued, And this is the thing. You cannot blame the customer because, you're the one that you're the one that established that price or agreed to that price. Okay. So that's why I always say, I just start off and I tell people, I can't give you a price right away. I have to get all the details and everything so that I can create the estimate. Then I always make sure that I tell them this is how much it's going to be. And the thing is also is I always like to explain why I am charging that amount. Okay. Because I have to get it digitized. I have to test stitch it. I have to do this. I have to do that. This is how long each item is going to take to embroider. Okay. I have to use different weight threads or different needle sizes and stuff like that. I let them know this is why it's this much. And then that's it. I let it go. If they agree, fine. If they don't, then I tell them, that's fine too. There are lots of other people out there that do embroidery. If you can find someone that can do it cheaper for you, by all means, use them. Because the thing is, the bottom line is, you're not. I know what my time is worth. I know how much I charge. Okay, and that's it. And it's not up for. It's not even a discussion that has to be had. It really doesn't. Okay, so I tell people up front, this is how much it is, and this is the thing. Things are going up. Prices of items are really going up. Okay, with the situation, with the way things are going right now, I don't know if they're going to get any higher. I really don't. But the thing is, you want to make sure that you are getting your value. Okay, that you are getting reimbursement for not just all the materials, but also for your time. And that's the thing where I think a lot of people really mess up on, is that when they set those prices, they don't calculate their time. All they focus on is materials. And they always just come out and say, well, it's just per stitch. No, it's not just per stitch. Your time is valuable. You know, how long are you using those machines for? You know, you want to make sure that you're pricing correctly. So a lot of times people really, they don't get the pricing correctly. And it can be very difficult. Okay, pricing is not easy to do when it comes to embroidery. You have to set your own pricing process. Okay, your standards on how you're going to price things. I see it all the time where people say, how much would you charge for this? How much would you charge for that? You shouldn't be asking how much other people would be charging. You have to learn how to do this yourself, because everything that you get, that every order that you get to embroider, is custom. It's not the same. Okay, so one customer's job is not the same as the next. All right, different logos, different, different materials, different designs. I mean, no, okay, just don't, it's, you gotta learn how to do it. Okay, I know it's hard, but believe me, as you get more into this, it's gonna become easier for you. You're gonna find the balance in how you're gonna be pricing things. Okay, that will come to you. We don't haggle with the price. No, we don't. We do not. Hey, Janice, how are you? How you doing? Welcome. Friday night on a cruise, celebrating my happy birthday, Marlene. Happy birthday. You are on a cruise. Oh my goodness. You're enjoying life. And Marlene said, I had to turn down a customer because she wants Disney characters on a computer case, and I refuse to do. Yes. And you know what? Thank you for mentioning that. That is one of the things that I also turned down as well. Copyright. Okay. You know for a fact there are certain things that is copyrighted. Customers will ask you to do that. And I'm like, absolutely not. Sometimes people will say, well, nobody will know. I know. Okay. And this is the thing. I don't know you. I don't know you. And I don't want it coming back at me. It's not worth the risk. It really isn't. If some people want to take the risk, that's on them. Okay. They can do it. I had a customer during Christmas time. They wanted me to embroider a college logo. I know those college logos are copyrighted. I'm not going to do it. Sorry. No. And she was just so adamant. And I just said, no. I just said, I don't do that, period. And then she kind of like left me alone. I don't know if I'll ever hear from her again, but that's okay. I'm just not going to do it. I don't do the copyright. The other thing too, that I forgot, and me and my sister were talking about this earlier, is that I won't do. And I did do this. And it wasn't that the customer meant any harm. They didn't know. But, the champion dog, for those of you guys that have been watching me for quite some time, you guys know that there was a champion dog embroidery logo that I worked on. And I had to do 9 test stitches to get that sucker right. Well, in the beginning, I actually used an embroidery file that was provided to me by the customer. Now, the customer didn't know. I mean, they just looked at it as, I got this digitized and I have a file. So let me give it to you. So I went and I took it and I embroidered it. And then I was like, okay, the head of the dog didn't come out too crisp. So I went and I took that embroidery file and I had other digitizers trying to fix it. What I should have did was just said, nope, I'm not taking any more. I cannot take other people's in digitizing files. I'm going to take the image itself and I'm going to have it freshly digitized. That is what did the trick. So, that is another thing too that I kind of learned the hard way, because sometimes what happens is that customers will sometimes come to you and they'll say, hey, I got this digitized, so I don't have to pay a digitizing fee. That's what they'll say. But then what ends up happening is they're not embroiderers. All they know is that they sent a design to somebody, they digitized it and sent them a file back. They don't have a machine to test stitch it. So they don't know if the design was correctly digitized. They end up finding that out when you start to use it. And then they're going to complain that it didn't come out good. Even though my customer didn't do that, she just gave it to me and I said, let me give it a shot. And then I said, you know what, I'm going to have it digitized. And she was fine with it. She paid for the dissertation, for it digitizing and all that stuff. So I don't have a problem with her. She's a very good customer. I like working with her and her husband on projects. Because they're very challenging projects sometimes, and which is really great because I love it because it really ups my skills. But it was something that I kind of learned. I kind of learned that, okay, you can't do that. I know the digitizers that I work with. I know their digitizing style, and I like the relationship I have with them. So whenever I have a design that I need digitized, I reached out to them. They could tell me right off the bat, even if I'm not even sure I want to take a job. What I will do is I'll take the photo and I send it to my digitizer and I'll say, hey, can you give me your best guess of how long that's going to take to stitch out? And if they tell me, ooh, this is really complicated, it's going to take you about 2 hours and a half. I'm like, oh, thank you. And they don't even charge me for that because professional digitizers, they know, okay, because this is all they do. Okay. That's what they live and breathe, digitizing. So they can actually look at a design without even starting it in the software. And they can tell you right off the bat if something's going to take a long time for you to stitch out or not. So usually that's what I do with my digitizers. If I see a design, I'll be like, hey, is this something that's worth digitizing or is it going to look funky? And they'll let me know up the front. They'll be like, okay, we can digitize it, but it's not, I don't think it's going to look good, or, it's going to take a very long time to stitch out. And I appreciate that because that saves me a lot of time. And it also saves the customer a lot of time as well. Okay. Because that way they know up front, this isn't something that we're going to touch. Okay. So yeah, but, yeah, sometimes you do have to turn down customer orders, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. Hey, Nancy, how you doing? And for those of you guys that don't know, this is my sister, and that's her channel, Gifts HQ. She goes live on Saturday at noon, every Saturday at noon. So I hope you guys can subscribe to her channel. And she actually does little quizzes and games and stuff like that for the folks during the lives. Her channel is pretty awesome. So hope you guys can join us tomorrow and stuff. Hey, Eartha, how are you? How you doing? Let's see. I'm going down. Hey, Robin Quilt Basket, how you doing? Hey, Kim Cass, how are you? How you doing, hon? Hey, Jackie, how are you? Let's see. I see Eartha down there. Yep, Diane says it's not a fresh canvas, and that is true. That's why I don't like digitize. And this is the thing, Diane. I know from experience. it's not that this happened with a customer's item, but you know how sometimes you could have things at home that were embroidered on and you like it, and then you're like, oh, let me take that embroidery out and I'm going to put a cuter design on top of it, right? So I had something at home. It was like a pillow. And I said, let me take the stuffing out. I'm going to turn it inside out. I'm going to take all that embroidery out. And then I'm going to embroider on top of it. Well, I'm going to tell you, it was a pillow that I had for about I had it for like 2 years, something like that. Cute pillow. And then I said that I want to do my own embroidery on it. Well, I took the old embroidery off of it, but then I looked at the fabric, and like she said, it's not a fresh canvas. You could kind of tell that the fabric was kind of like worn in areas where the embroidery used to be. And you could tell like the different color of the fabric, right? Like the where the embroidery was a different color versus the other side of the fabric. So I was kind of like, doesn't look good. So that's another reason why when people come to me with old stuff and they say, hey, can you remove the embroidery and just embroider on top of it? I'm like, no. First of all, like I said, removing the embroidery could take a very long time, and then you can risk ripping up the shirt and all that kind of stuff. Now, as an alternative, though, what you could do is, depending on the area that they don't like the embroidery anymore, make a patch, on and embroider the patch. And then what you do is put the patch right on top and then just sew around it. You know what I'm saying? That's an alternative. That way they still have their shirt and the new embroidery is on top of it. And it's just a patch. You can do that. Okay. So, and this is something too that I've heard from people. Some people don't like the patches because of the edging of the patch. There are different styles that you can do with a patch. All right. Like some people have the Merly patches of Embrilliance. The Merly patches of Embrilliance is, I don't have a patch in front of me. I don't. Okay. Sometimes they're a little bit on the thick side. Okay. But if you go to a digitizer and you tell them, I want to have a patch, but I want a smooth edge, right? They can do a patch with an edge very similar like this, like a little satin patch. That way it doesn't look too like thick, and stuff like that. So there's different edges that digitizers can do for you when creating patches. Okay, so just be conscientious of that, because sometimes what happens is customers are like, oh, I don't like the patch, because sometimes the outside of the patch, the edging can be a little bit on the thick side, which is true. Regular patches kind of sometimes do. But the thing is, you can change the edging. It doesn't have to be that thick one, like the Merly patches and stuff. You can ask for edging like this, satin. And then what'll happen is, it'll look a lot neater. Okay. And you don't have that thickness to it. So that's an alternative, that you can offer your customers and stuff like that. If they don't want to, they want to get rid of old embroidery, and you can put a patch on top of them. It doesn't have to be so super, super duper thick. Okay. Hey, Leslie, how are you? That material has been damaged by the previous. Yeah. And it's worn. The material's been worn. And this is the other thing. Yeah, like she said, it's not that I wouldn't say it's damaged. What I would say is, you got to remember, when you're doing embroidery, what you're doing is you're poking thousands and thousands of holes in a certain area. Okay. So when you remove that embroidery, the fabric is not as fresh. Okay. So what she means, and yeah, maybe Iris does have a point in saying that it's damaged, is that area where the embroidery was, it had thousands and thousands of holes. And these are not fresh holes. Okay. These are holes that have been in this fabric for a very long time. So it's not, it's not, when you feel that area that had the embroidery, and then you start to feel the other areas of the fabric. Okay, like let's say I had an embroidery here, right? And I took it all out. I'm going to feel this fabric. It's going to feel different. It's going to feel thin. Okay. The reason why it feels thin is because it had thousands of holes. Okay. Then if I go to the other side of the shirt and I start feeling it, it's going to feel thicker because this part of the shirt was never embroidered as if this was. And not only that, you don't know how long that embroidery's been there. So it's been, it's going to feel very, very thin. And this is the other thing, because it feels thin, because of all those thousands of holes, when you go to remove that embroidery, there's a very good chance that fabric is going to rip, or you can accidentally cut it and stuff like that. So I really do not recommend, unless you're super good at it, to remove other people's embroidery and then put on top of it, and stuff. I wouldn't do it. So that is something that I just do not do. I don't do it. Because I know the lady with the blanket that reached out to me, she said, well, I want to remove that embroidery because the lady spelled the name wrong. I'm not doing it. I mean, I feel bad, if, the other person put it wrong. But the thing is, I'm not going to do it because at the end of the day, if it doesn't work out, you're not going to be mad at that other person. You're going to be mad at me. So I'm like, no. Let's avoid the issues, because you know me, I don't like drama. So I'll be like, no, I don't do it. Hey Joanne, how you doing? Hey SK, how are you? Let's see. Hey Crafty Puerto Rican, how you doing? Hey Miss McFake, how are you? Let's see. Oh, thank you so much, D Molly. Yes, if you like this, if you really like my embroidery happy hour, you really enjoy the topics that I share with you guys, please do give me that thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Also, I am trying to get to that 20,000. I don't know if I'll get there, but we'll see. Yeah, so let's see. So good to be here. I look forward to Fridays and chatting with you guys. Iris, I think that's so cool that everybody likes to hang out together and stuff. Okay, Andrew and Stitches. Hey, can you give me your opinion about using... Oh, okay, I'll tell you. Okay, on towels. Okay. All right, let's talk about this for a little bit. This is a good question, Angela. Okay, so 40 weight thread for small fonts, I would not recommend. Okay, now it also depends on how small we're talking about. If you're talking about those real tiny fonts, then I say 40 weight is not the way to go. You want to go 60. And the reason is because you're not going to be able to read what you're embroidering. All right. Now let's talk about towels. Towels come in different forms of thickness. Okay. So because it comes in different forms of thickness, you may have to look at how are you going to embroider on that towel. This is one thing that I highly recommend when it comes to thick towels, okay? And even if you have a towel that's really super thin, like a tea towel, something like that, then you don't have to worry about it, okay? You could just embroider straight on it because there is no fibers and stuff like that are like sticking up. So it's just a flat surface. So you can go ahead and you can embroider small fonts. But I would recommend 60 weight thread. Okay. I would not recommend the 40 weight. And I would also recommend a 65-9 needle. All right. Now, towels. Towels usually have fibers that are very fluffy, right? So one of the things that I recommend when you have small fonts and you need to embroider on towels is you should use a knockdown stitch. If you don't have the capability of doing knockdown stitches, then what I recommend that you do is that you go and you purchase an emboss file. The emboss file will provide that surface, okay, that flat surface, so that you can go ahead and embroider those small fonts on top of it. And that way it is crystal clear. If you look on my channel, Angela, you do a search on knockdown stitches embossed files. And that video will show you exactly what I'm talking about with the two. Okay. And that will help you determine what method is going to be best for the material that you're using. Now you're saying towels. So, you got to remember towels come in different types of textures, right? And fabrics. So, like I said, if it is a towel that is, like, something very thin like this. Okay. You see, there's no fluff. There's no fluff. Okay, this is actually a dinner napkin, but tea towels are sometimes like this. And if it's a fabric that's like this, where it has like no fluff and stuff like that, then you don't have to worry about using an emboss or a knockdown stitch. Okay, what I would probably do is maybe use water soluble stabilizer just to give the thread a little bit of a lift, even though I don't think it really would be necessary, but I would just do it just for the hell of it. And I would make sure that I use a 65-9 needle with a 60 weight thread, not a 40 weight. Okay. I also have videos on the channel. If you do a search on the channel for small fonts, I have a couple of videos where I kind of talk to you about the small fonts with 60 weight thread and why you should use it. Okay. As a matter of fact, maybe what I'll do is I'll do a brand new one where I can take an example and I can show a difference so that people can actually see it. In one machine, I'll do 40 weight thread, in one machine, do a 60 weight, run them both, pull them out, and then maybe we can just look at the differences and see what they look like and stuff. I think that would be a more powerful video so people could kind of see for themselves what something can look like in a 60 weight versus a 40 weight. But I think a lot of people that have been watching me for quite some time kind of figured it out, because when they actually use 60 weight thread, they're like, oh my God, it's a difference. But I'll probably do the video. Yeah, I could do that tomorrow. I should do that tomorrow because I really don't have plans for tomorrow. And I can do that. That'll be fun. All I have to do tomorrow is pick up Mellow's dog food from PetSmart, so I can probably shoot that video real quick because I have so many logos, and that would be pretty neat just to show you guys. Yeah. So that way you guys can see really the difference. But I do have a video on there, 60 weight versus 40 weight. And then embossed and knockdown stitches on the channel. And that will actually help you, Angela, with your towels and stuff. Jeanette, it's unrealistic to expect an embroidery to look as good as the picture or a drawing. I totally agree, because it is not the same method. Ink and stitches look totally different. But I'm going to tell you something, Iris, you can sometimes talk to these customers and they swear it's going to look just like the photo. They swear up and down. And you really have to explain to them that stitches and ink is separate. It's not the same. It is not the same. But people do kind of make that assumption that it's going to look exactly alike. I mean, we can do wonderful things with embroidery, and we can, like I said, there are different lengths of stitches that we can put in a design. But the thing is, at the end of the day, yes, embroidery does not look the same as a picture or a drawing. Totally agree. Totally agree. And not to mention the expense. Yes, because think about it, ink, and some people that do sublimation, maybe they'll disagree with me or whatever, but it's first of all, I feel like when you do ink, it's faster. I think it's cheaper also. In my I have a sublimation printer, even though the ink's not cheap, but the thing is, it's faster because all I have to do is print it out and then just iron it on the shirt or the item, right? But embroidery is just so much complex. Okay, I mean, there's the digitizing, the stabilizing, the hooping, the threads, the needles. I mean, there is more involvement in embroidery than there is in when you are pressing or ironing a picture on a shirt. The process is very, very different, much more involved, which is why embroidery is more costly. The other thing also that I notice it, and I don't mean to say that sublimation and direct to fabric and all those things are poor quality. I don't mean to say that, but I know with my experience with the sublimation, because I really don't have experience with the direct to fabric and other methods that are out there. I kind of, and I'm gonna be honest, sublimation is really not my thing. um I like to stick to embroidery. I don't like going to all these ventures and stuff. Embroidering is my thing. That's what I love. I love threads and needles. Okay. I just feel that embroidery lasts a lot longer. And it will always look vibrant versus ink on a shirt. Ink on a shirt after a couple of washes and drying and stuff like that. Even though it feels lighter, right? Because you're just putting ink on the fibers of a shirt. It may feel lighter and maybe more comfortable or whatever. But the thing is, after a couple of washes, the ink does start to fade. Okay. And and then if you use vinyl, certain vinyls start to crack. And like I said, I think long term, okay, embroidery actually lasts for as long as the item. It really does, especially if the customer takes very good care of it, which means if they know how to properly wash it and dry it and stuff like that, then it will definitely last as long as the actual item. So that's another reason why embroidery is more expensive, because it's quality, and the process to actually do embroidery takes time. So it's it can be kind of diff you know what I mean. Okay, hey Janice. Oh, she's got a lot here. Okay, I really do not like people to bring me their own blanks. They inadvertently try to buy the cheapest item they can find. Very true. Janice got a point. They do. Why would anyone want to put a $30 design on a $2 poorly made shirt? She's got a very good point here. Let's talk about this for a minute. Thank you, Janice, for your comment. Okay. I have had customers come to me, and she is right. They will come to you with like mega cheap. Okay. And she's right. Like a $2 shirt, and they would want you to embroider it. Now, the thing is, like I said, that depends on the fabric. Usually a $2 shirt, that means that fabric is so super thin. And if they want something that's really dense, you're probably going to have to double up that stabilizer and stuff like that. And then chances are that you're going to have to use cutaway, because if it's a shirt, you're going to use cutaway. They're going to see the cutaway through because the shirt is super thin. Okay. But I'm going to tell you something, Janice. People do it. They do it. I have had people come to me with some things that are pretty cheap and stuff. Now, look, this is how I look at it. If you want to pay $30 to put an embroidery on a $2 shirt, hey, who am I to say no? If I know that I can make it look good, I will do it. Okay. However, though, if I see that $2 shirt is going to fall apart while it's hooped on my machine, I ain't going to take it, because I am experienced enough to know what's going to work and what's not going to work. And if the design you pick is too dense for that cheap shirt, I'm not going to do it. And I'm going to explain to you why, and I'm going to let you know it's not going to work out. Okay. But yeah, I mean, and now there are several reasons why some people don't like when customers bring items to them. Okay. Let me touch that point that Janice had put out there too. What happens is, it can get touchy. And this is where you have to determine what type of embroidery services you want to provide to people. I am okay with people bringing their own items to me. However, I need to know where you got it from and how much it cost, because that's going to help me determine whether I'm willing to take that risk or not. Once I agree, I know to take that job, it's my responsibility to make sure that I embroider that item well and that I give you back your product. If I take that item and I screw it up, I bought it. That's normally how I work, and I will replace it. If there is an item that the customer has that wants me to embroider and I can't replace it, I'm not going to take the job. Usually what I'll do too is there's a wholesaler that's buying me that sells shirts. And there's also other wholesalers like Jiffy Shirts and stuff like that. You can tell the customer, these are places you can bulk order your shirts. Okay. And they don't even have to bulk order. They can buy 5 shirts, 6 shirts, or whatever, right? And then the other thing too is you can have the customers, the conversation with the customer if they haven't bought the shirts yet, and tell them what quality shirt will work best with the design that they want to embroider. Sometimes I tell people, do a blend, do a cotton polyester blend. Or I'll tell people also, this is the wholesaler that I use. I recommend that you go over there, open up an account, because you're a business owner just like I am. Open up an account there. That way, that shirt that you get from the wholesaler, you pay $7 for it. Because that same shirt, if you go to Macy's, you're going to be paying $40. Why would you pay $40? Okay, go to the wholesaler, pay $8 a shirt. And at the same time, I have an account with that wholesaler. So if I screwed up your shirt, it's not a problem. I can go to that wholesaler and I can pay another $8 and replace that shirt. Okay. So, you have to kind of ask yourself what type of risk you're willing to take. Okay. And I'm going to tell you something, the more experienced you become, the more confident, okay, you get, you're going to be okay with people bringing in their items. You're going to know what to accept and you're going to know what you're not going to accept. Okay, you know that. You're going to be like, okay, I can take that risk. Or, nope, that's not something, like I said, Louis Vuitton, no, ain't doing it, okay? You're going to need, nope, don't bring me the Gucci, don't bring me the Louis Vuitton, I don't want the Prada, Hermes bag, whatever, no, I ain't touching it, okay? No, but if you have a little duffel bag that I know costs $14.99 or $19.99, something like that, or even $35.99, then I'll take that risk. I'll take that risk. And because the thing is also is if I screw up that bag, I could use the bag. I mean, I'll just go buy you a new bag and then I'll embroider it and give it to you and stuff. And you got your bag embroidered and stuff. Then I'll take the old bag and I'll just slap a patch on it or something and then we'll use it, But yeah, so it just depends on what you're comfortable with and stuff. Marnie says, does this ever happens to you? I was doing knockdown stitches for an order and the stitches was going back and forward at the same spot. Any idea what would cause that? That has not happened to me. Now, the thing is sometimes, Marlene, you think it's going over the same spot, but what it's doing is it's supposed to be stitching closely. Okay, so that way it's creating you got your item and then here's your stitches. This is your stitches and it's going like this. And what it's doing is creating that flat bottom. So that way it can stitch on top of it. Sometimes it looks like it's stitching on top of each other, but they really aren't. It's just that the stitches are really close just to create that flat bottom. Okay. But I don't know if it ruins your item. Man, this chair's a little bit uncomfortable. I think I ran out the cushion or something like that. But anyway, But it could be, what you could do also, Marlene, is you could take the file, put it in Brilliance, and do the stitch simulator and see if watch how it stitches, and you'll probably see that maybe it's just too close and you probably think it's stitching on top of it, or just create a fresh file, but I've never had that happen and stuff. Those are the ones I like, Jeanette. Let's see. I haven't tried to do the small fonts. Don't be afraid of them, Iris. They're actually fun to do. You just have to test. Always test, okay? Hey, Debbie, how you doing? Okay. Another one. I have 60 weight thread, but I can't tell what's... Okay, if you have 60 weight thread, what you use is a 65-9 needle. I don't understand how the size works. Okay, 60 weight, 65-9 needle. Okay, that means that the point for that needle is more finer. Okay, so it's not gonna make a really big hole, and the eye of the needle is right for that thread. Okay, so Iris, just remember, 40 weight, use 75-11. 60 weight, use 65-9. Okay, you'll be golden. Okay, hit the like button and subscribe. Oh, you know what? I got a banner for that. Let me see. Okay, here we go. There you go. There's my banner. I forgot. I always said I was going to do the banner and then I forget. You believe that? Oh my goodness. All right, let's go back to the comments here. All right. Thanks, Debbie, for reminding me. Okay. Iris said, I embroidered a beautiful design on my jean jacket. I'll post a picture of it. Oh, I bet you looks nice. And there are so many. There are a lot of large designs that people do on their jean jackets and all that kind of stuff. And I always have ideas for jean jackets, but jean jackets can be very, very consuming. I even have a girlfriend that this is an idea. This is what she does. She goes to the thrift stores, and whenever she sees a jean jacket, she buys it from a thrift store. And she's usually doing like kids' jean jackets. And then what she does is on the back of the kids' jean jacket, she'll do embroidery. Like she'll embroider a butterfly, or she'll embroider, little cute hearts or whatever, or a little truck or something, for kids. And then what she does is she goes, she works at a little flea. I don't know if it's considered a flea market, but a little market, right? And she hangs her little jackets and she sells her jean jackets, and then what she, what I think is so brilliant about that is she's not spending a whole lot of money. She's actually going to the thrift store. She's buying a jean jacket that's in perfectly good condition. She's adding her little designs on there, and voila, she makes some little extra money. She gets the money back from the jean jacket and some. So, she does that, and it comes out really, really good. But yeah, I like embroidering jean jackets. I bought a beautiful red leather jacket at the thrift store, and made 2 beautiful red purses. Yeah, and that's another thing, guys. You can go to the thrift store and you can buy clothes and all that kind of stuff, and that's a perfect place to get fabrics. All you have to do is just cut it up, use the fabric. You can turn it into a bag, just like she did, just like Marsha. You can turn it into a bag or something like that. And my son went to the thrift store the other day. He got himself some nice pants. And he was like, oh, you should go. And I don't know what thrift store he went to, but I think maybe this weekend I'm probably going to hit him up and go, come on, Cardi, let's go to the thrift store. I want to see where you went, and I want to check them out, and I'll probably just go with like $40 to see what I could come out with, That'll be pretty neat. Yeah, there you go, Tina. 60. No, I've never used a 69-11 needle with 60. I use 65-9. That's what I use with a 60 weight. I never heard of a 6911. I'll have to look that up and stuff. But I use the 65.9. That's what I use. Hey, Ozzy, how you doing? But you're here. You're here. Let's see. There you go. 60. Yep, 69.5 needle, Tita. That's what I use. Yep. Hey, Gail, how you doing? How are you? Let's see. Oh, and McFate. When I go to Joann's, I can't tell what weight of the embroidery. Yeah, okay. Well, all right. Usually, the rule of thumb is whenever you're picking up embroidery thread, it's always mostly 40 weight. 60 weight thread is usually kind of like considered like a specialty. So, Miss McFate, I always get my 60 weight thread from allstitch.com. That's where I buy it because there I can actually select the 60 weight. I have not personally. I mean, I don't know if anyone else has or someone out there knows, but I know that in my sewing shops, in Joann's, in Hobby Lobby, everywhere I've gone and I look at their embroidery thread, it's mostly 40 weight. And sometimes they won't even say. Like, let me see. Hold on. Now you got me curious because I got silky thread, okay? And let me see. Here it is. Silky thread, which is a color that is beautiful. I love this color. Let me see if it says anything in here. See, this is silky thread. Okay. Yeah, and you know what? It does not tell you the weight. See, here's this one. See this? It doesn't tell you the weight. So it does not. See, it says Germany right here. And it's a 7-6. I don't know what that means. And then on the top, it tells you the yardage. Okay. But it does not say anything about the weight of the thread. So yeah, McFake. I mean, sometimes when you go to the store, it is embroidery thread, right? But it doesn't really tell you the weight. So I always when I can't tell the weight, I always assume it's 40. Okay. If I want 60 weight thread and I need it to be specifically 60 weight thread, then I go to Madeira. And Madeira, and I have it here. Hold on, I'll be right back. I'll show you 60 weight thread. Okay. This is 60 weight. All right. And okay. Bing. 60 weight. Okay, so this is 60 weight thread. And it actually has it on here that says 60 weight thread. Okay. And if you look on here, okay, on here, it says, I don't know, I can't even see myself. See, there's the 60, so that's the 60 weight thread. And that's why I like the Madeira thread because I know what weight I'm getting. Okay. So I usually buy these by the bulk. Okay. As you can see, this is all black. Okay, because I buy these in the bulk because they'll last me a long time. And usually for small letters, a lot of times the font is usually like a white or a black, those kinds. So when it comes to the 60 weight, I always buy the bulk boxes of white and black thread. And then and I do have other colors and stuff like that. But yeah, so see, this is another, see on the side. And I get these from All Stitch. Okay. Now you don't have to buy them in bulk. Okay. You can buy one spool at a time. and stuff. But that's what I like about that website is that I could get 40 weight or 60 weight and I know exactly what I'm getting. When you go to Joann's and Walmart, like I said, you don't know what you get. It's mostly 40 weight. It usually is because that's usually the weight for embroidery thread, but it's just that sometimes in designs you can't do the 40 weight because if it's very small fonts, it's not going to read clear. So you need something thinner. Angela said, I've embroidered on the back of a couple of jackets for my granddaughter. Turned out great, but now she's outgrown them. Now I got to do some more. They love, especially when you can take a jean jacket and make it your own. It's like so, and jean jackets never go out of style. Mellow. Oh my goodness. I don't know where he's at. I really don't. I don't know. Mellow, Papa, look. Look, Papa. He's coming. Everybody wants to say hi. You want to say hi, Papa? Where's my baby? Look at you. Oh, Mellow. You want to say hi to everybody? Say hi. Yeah. Everybody always wants to see you because you're so cute. Yeah. Oh, you are. You're cute. You're cute. There you go. That's the star. You want to sit with me? You want to sit with me? Yeah. You're so cute, boo-boo. Yeah. We love you. Everybody always, Mellow. Look, Mellow. Jenny was asking about you. She was asking about you. Everybody was. You were sleeping with Daddy? Daddy's retired. That's why he's sleeping. My husband retired last week. He's enjoying it. And he's doing like absolutely nothing. So I got a year and 7 months to go. Not that I'm counting, but I am. Okay, so that's Mellow. Looks like he went back with Daddy. Okay. All righty then. Let's see. Go down. Okay. Let's see. Going down to see if I have any other questions and stuff. Hey, Breeze Pretend Bakery. How are you? Let's see. Did I miss saying hi to some people? Let me see. No, I think I got everybody. Let me see. Let's see. Oh, Marcia said, this is the first time I've heard of 60 weight thread for knockdown stitch. Nope. Okay, you misunderstood. No. Okay. Let's explain this. Okay. When you do the knockdown stitches, you're not using 60 weight thread. You are using regular embroidery thread, 40 weight. When the knockdown stitch is complete, that's when it created your surface, right? Now, on top of that surface is where you're going to start embroidering your design. When you start to embroider those small fonts on top of the knockdown stitches, that is when the 60 weight thread comes in. Okay, so I am glad, Marcia, that you put that comment out there because I don't want folks to get confused. Because what's going to happen is if you do your knockdown stitches in 60 weight thread, it's not going to be solid. You're going to see little gaps and stuff like that. So no, when you do your knockdown stitches, use 40 weight thread, okay? The time that you use the 60 weight is when you are going to start embroidering those small fonts. That's when you use the 60 weight, not for the knockdown stitches. Okay, so I hope I was able to clear that up. But Marcia, thank you for putting it out there because I don't want, and I was, because I'm sure that maybe other people, maybe I said something wrong, but, knockdown stitches is 40 weight. Okay, it's only when you're embroidering very small details, such as the very tiny fonts, that's when you use the 60 weight. Okay. Clothing outlives the print. Yep. Embroidery outlives the owner. Oh, that's cute. I like that. And you know what? It's kind of true. It is true. I kind of like that. I like that saying. That's so cool. Let's see. That was cute. I like that. Let's see. I think Beth has a question. But have you ever used the All Stitch brand size L pre-wind No. Okay. I have not. I think that they will work well. However, though, when it comes, well, it depends also, Beth. I kind of, bobbins last a very long time. So if you get a box of bobbins and you have a flatbed machine, right? Because that's usually what the L size is for, you're good. Now, for my embroidery machines that are multi-needle, I always use the Feli guide. And that's because it has that magnetic size in the bobbin, and it works very, very well with big machines. Now, however, though, a lot of people, what they don't know is you can actually use those for your flatbeds as well. And I sometimes do. But the thing is, I have so many bobbins for the flatbed that I just leave the Feli for the big machines, and then I use a regular L size bobbin for mine. But the bobbins that I bought, Beth, I just got them off of Amazon, and I'm gonna be honest, I've had them for like over 2 years, because those are just for sewing and stuff like that, So and I use it for embroidery too, but they last forever. I get like a box of 144, and I still have bobbins in there, so. And you can always rewind your own too. I mean, it's not that bad to rewind your own. I don't think the embroidery thread at Joann's is the best. Well, yeah, it depends. Well, I will tell you this. I do like this brand, the silky one. I got this off of Amazon, actually, and the reason why I got it off of Amazon is because I kind of needed this particular blue. But this blue, I can get it in the the other brand, the one that I can't say. Hold on. Let me I'm gonna show you right now. Because they have a lot of nice blues too, that are pretty similar. The Florina brand, or Florina. Yeah, y'all know I'm trying, I'll never get it right, but as you can see, it's not really a perfect match. But I did kind of like this, and I'm gonna tell you something. I got this one because the Brother Reed brand, sometimes you get the replacement colors and they're not really like the same colors, right? I don't know if they changed the dye or what. And let me tell you something else about embroidery thread that Justin pointed this out to me, which I was kind of like, I ain't even noticed that before. Okay. He said you could always tell when thread is kind of like pretty cheap, economic, and I'm gonna show you. These are like the sim thread. This is like the Brother Reed, the sim thread, pretty cheap. Okay. And one of the things that he talked about the combs, right? He said you could usually tell when the thread is kind of like on the low end by the type of comb that the thread is on. And I was kind of like, what do you mean? And let me show you something he taught me. Look at this. This is usually white. And if you look at the bottom, it doesn't really, it's just a regular comb, right? Which is why we use this, because we want to keep the thread nice and neat, right? Okay. Now, look at my Florina thread, okay? This bottom comes off. The reason why it comes off is so that when you need to wrap your thread, you can go ahead and put it on here, okay? And then you take this other side and you snap it back on. And when you snap it back on, well, you can put it in here. I can't do it while I'm showing you guys. All right, I'm going to stand up and show you guys. But see how this goes back in, and see how it has this little thing right here. I don't think I put it right. I didn't put it back right. There you go. Now I snapped in it. See how it has this little flap here? You can take the thread, okay, and then you can wrap it. You can wrap, see how I have it? You wrap it on here, and then you can just keep going all the way around. And this is to help keep your thread neat. See? And, it kind of, it's another way of storing your thread. That way you don't have to use this, But he said you'll see that that more expensive brands have combs that are like this, okay, that have this little slot right here. And I was like, really? I was like, okay. So, and I started using these things because I was kind of like, oh, okay. So, I'm putting this here. There you go. And then I would just go in, and then I would just like put it in, and then see how it goes nice and neat, and then I don't have to use this on here. Okay. Now this is on the Florina. Okay. Now, let's look at the Madeira. Okay. Madeira is the same. Okay. Notice here. Okay. Look at where I have it wrapped. Okay. Now this does not come out. I guess I can see how it has that little slit. It has a little slit. It has this little thing right here. See how you can wrap it in here, and then I just pull it through here. See? And then it'll hold my thread nice and neat, and I don't have to put the band around it. Okay? So that was one thing that he pointed out. He was like, you can always tell the inexpensive thread. He didn't say anything about like the quality of the thread. He was like, thread, whatever, it just depends on the, what you want, right? Because some people do use very inexpensive thread and it works out great for them and stuff. But he did tell me something. He goes, I could always just look at the thread and look at the comb, the bottom of the comb, and you can kind of tell. And sometimes I wonder, is that why Florina is a little more expensive? Because the little fancy thing we're paying for at the bottom, and this was a little cheaper because they're saying, oh, the heck with the comb stand. We're more focused on I don't know. But yeah, but it was just something that he pointed out, and I was kind of like, oh, that's pretty interesting. And then when I look at this thread, which is the silky, right? This comes out too. See, I don't know if you notice. See how it does move. See, there's a little slit there. See that little slit right there? And you can comb it in there and snap it back, and then hold that as thing. And then when you're ready to do that, you can, let me see if I can do this, because I have this with the comb right now. So let me see if I can. Yep, you can just put it in. Yep, put it in there like that. Yep, I'm putting it in, and then I'm just going to snap it, and look at that. It's in there. See, it's in there, even though it's hanging over here a little bit. But then when I want to use it, all I have to do is just go like this, and it'll come right out. Then I could use it. So that's pretty neat. That's pretty neat. I did not notice any of that until he brought it to my attention. And then I was kind of like, oh, and I got a lot of thread that have these types of, things. And I could have, instead of, spending my money on all these, there you go. See, look at that. Spending my money on all these thread huggers, I could have been using the actual case that came in. Because some of these actually have that functionality where you can just, go in, snap it shut, and it'll hold your thread in place. And then when I want to embroider it, all I have to do is just grab it from here and then just pull it. See how it's right here? And then I'll just like pull it, see? And it comes right out. Isn't that pretty cool? So it's just something that something that he showed me, which I was kind of like, oh, that's pretty neat. I didn't know about that. See, and then now I have it under here. See, pretty cool, right? Anyway, thought I'd share that. Anyway, yeah, just crossed my mind now, to share that with you guys. See what happens when you hang out with me till the very end. You kind of learn something. All right, so yeah. So let's see. Hey, Miss Hemmings, how you doing? There's my Q-tip. Okay. Let's see. Anyone else going to the South Florida Quilts? You know what? I need to see if I can go. I want to go. Let's see. That's why mine didn't look great. Evelyn, she said, ordered a machine for Christmas, still hasn't arrived. It was on sale. My payment was taken. He keeps asking if I will take another machine. I said no. And I don't know that. Oh, Evelyn, I hope you purchased it from a legit sewing machine. And what I would do is I would just ask for a refund then. Because if you bought it from Christmas, in January, that's a long time. Oof. Yeah, I hope things work out. Let's see. That was a good question. Right around the corner, so close. Second time, final chapter 11. Ugh, so sad. Okay, the manager Joanne says that that they're going. Oh, you guys talking about Joanne? Yeah, Joanne is not doing too well. Manager says that they are not going out of business or closing down, but only closing 8 of their underperforming stores. Yeah, it's going to get to a point where it's going to be hard for us to buy fabric. I'm telling you. I am telling you. I love Jones. Yeah, I really hope they don't close the one by me, because then I'd be upset. I'd really be upset. Oh my God. Oh my God. Just learned from you about the flurry and locking up thread at plastic bottom. Now I can keep the tidy. So awesome. Yeah. And you know what's funny is everybody was buying these things, well, me included. I was getting these, and they work. These work. But when the guy, Justin came, he says, these lock at the bottom. I said, lock at the bottom. And then he goes, yeah, that's how you can tell. Now if you have sin threads, okay, these don't lock. Okay, because if you look at this, there's nothing. Okay, it's just a spool. There is no locking or anything like that. Okay, it's just a spool. So this doesn't come off or anything like that. So for these, you're probably going to have to get a hugger. But if you do Florina, you do Madeira, if you do Silky, yeah, I had no idea about these bottoms. So when he taught me that, I was just like, oh, sometimes you never know what you got in your room, right? It's amazing. Oh my goodness. Didn't realize that Madeira had a way to hold the thread. I know, I'm telling you. Sometimes you don't know what you got. You really don't. You end up learning. March 8th and 9th. Oh, well, okay. You know what? I could probably take leave and I could probably drive all the way out to Florida. I don't know. That'd be a cute trip to make. Really nice and relaxing. I could see me doing that. So I don't know. I'm going to try to make that. I'm going to see. Because I know my sister last year, she came up here to do the sewing crochet with me. So I'm thinking maybe this year I could do it with her over there. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm going to have to check my leave and see if I could put that in. That would be kind of cool to go there. How about the candle thread comb? I don't know. Let me see. Let me see. Hold on. I think I have some. Good question. Let's go and check it out. Let's see. All right. So, I think I almost rolled over my toe. That wouldn't have been good. That's not candle thread. Hold on. I know I got candle thread somewhere. Let me look through my stash. Oh, that's not it. Hold on. Let me look. Ain't that something? After a while, you don't know what is. You know, you're like, whatever. This color looks good. I think I don't think I put my candle thread out. Now I'm curious. I'm really curious. This is not candle thread. Is this candle thread? I think. No, this is not candle thread. This is something else. Okay. Hold on. Let me check. Hold on. Oh. I think my candle thread is on there, but I mixed them up so much that now I don't know what candle thread is. Oh, there it is. Candle. Okay. Candle thread. This is candle thread. Let's open this up and let's take a look. Let's take a look and find out. Okay. So I'm going to open this up and throw this out. Okay. So looking at this, it looks like it. So let's see. Yes. Look. So here's the little knot. I really don't like the way they do their threads because it makes it a little bit challenging to pull it out. Yeah, because it's kind of like they knot it in some kind of special way. Hold on. I think I got it. Do I have it? That's coming out. Let me see. Hold on. I gotta make sure that it's detangling correctly here. Yeah, this isn't like that's yeah. I hate it when they do this because then it's kind of like there it is. Got it. All right. So here's the thread and I'm going to turn it. Okay. And right here it's coming out like that. So then what you do is just put it in and then pop it down and you're good. So candle thread has it, and candle thread's pretty inexpensive. But they got the good yeah, see, because this pops out. See how it pops out? So then you just put it in here. Oh, it's hard for me to show you. And then just pop it down. Missed it. Hold on. It's just hard to do it. Okay. You got to put it right. Hold on. It's like I want to show you guys. But see? I don't know if you guys can see because it's such a light color. But it's in there. And then it's coming out through here. But this does, as you can see, look, it pops out the bottom. So that way you can just snap it like that. And then it pinches the thread. It's a cute color, right? It's pretty cute. But yeah, I knew I had candle. Because I did buy some candles of certain colors. And I don't know, I fell in love with that green and stuff. And yeah, so look at the bottom of your threads, the little combs and stuff. I know that the Brother and the Sim thread, they don't have it, you know, but the other brands, they seem to have it, and it's pretty neat. So it's like, so if you run out of these and you have that, then yeah, use that. Oh, she said, no, I'm not paying attention. I just put the heat and bond on my fabric mat. Okay. All right, cool. I think I got. Are we going, sis? I'm gonna put my leave in. I think I want to. I want to go because it give me a nice to get out of here for a little bit and stuff. I think we're gonna go. So yeah. So now that you said about late, I'm gonna put in. Maybe I'll put in like a whole week of leave or something like that. Or yeah, I gotta see where it is, and then that way I can get a hotel and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, we'll talk, Nancy. We'll talk because I would like to go to the Lakeland one. So if you're going, then I'm gonna do what I can to go because it'll be fun and stuff. All right, guys. So I talked about the topic. I went down the whole chat. I answered all your questions, showed you guys about the threads, and I also shared with you guys about the jobs that kind of typically kind of turn down and why I do them and stuff. So I'm not saying that, everybody should be turning down these jobs. I'm just sharing with you guys what was comfortable for me right now. It's kind of like what I like to do. And the thing is too is that I'm really not doing this really on a full-time basis because I still work full-time. So this is something that I usually do on the weekends, and sometimes I do them in the evenings because I do get home from work pretty tired. So sometimes when I get home I just want to relax. So and all my weekends are usually booked up because I'm always working on people's orders. And I just prefer to stick really comfortable with what I know and make sure that I'm making when I'm running my orders, I'm actually pulling out the best product that I can out there. And I actually took off tomorrow. I'm not doing any embroidery orders tomorrow because I just want to relax. I really do. I'm tired. I'm really, really tired. So, guys, I'm going to call it the night. Hope you guys liked this. Oops. Ooh, I dropped something here. So I guess I gotta have to pick it up. So hopefully you guys like today's topic. And if you do, please give me a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing. And I will see you guys later. And if you guys have time, check out my sister right here. She is Gifts HQ. She does not embroidery happy hour, but she does crafternoon. Okay, and she likes to sew and show a whole bunch of stuff and everything. So she's a lot of fun too. So I hope to see you there tomorrow. Oh, and somebody came to say bye bye. Look, you're not gonna say bye bye. You're not gonna say bye bye. So we will see you guys later, guys, and I will talk to you guys. So have a good week. Have a great weekend. Enjoy embroidering and sewing. I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Hey, Mellow. What are you doing?